We never know where life will lead us or what may hinder us along the way. But while every day can feel like one big question mark, it doesn't have to. With the right insights, strategies, and solutions from Western and Southern Financial Group, together we can look ahead to leave the unknown behind.
You're taking the reins to start the show today, Mike. You have an absolute treat of a story for the fellas.
It's an all right story. I'm a changed man after this weekend. Something happens that has changed me forever. I can never. There's no going back.
You really think it's changed you forever?
I mean, there's no going back at this point. I am an adult male who has pissed his pants. Now, the backstory on it wasn't. We need the backstory. I'm in Chicago. I was visiting my nephew and some friends there. And I'm golfing Saturday morning, and golfing at Wilmette Country Club. I'm staying at my buddy's, which is in Wrigleyville. To get out there, it was like a 15, 20-minute drive. It's not that far away. You just get on the highway. And on the golf course, it was pretty hot, like mid-80s. So I'm like drinking a lot of water, had probably like 6 beers on the golf course, and we're driving back, and we run into the worst traffic. And probably what should have been a 20-minute drive takes damn near an hour to get back from there. And so about 45 minutes in, I've been sitting in this car with my buddy driving. I'm just like, dude, I gotta piss. Like, I gotta go. Like, it has been, I thought this was not going to be that far, so I didn't pee before we left. I've had a lot of water. I've drank a lot of fluids on this golf course. I am going to maybe pee my pants. And we get off the highway, and it's probably about 5 minutes off the highway to my buddy's place. And I'm like, dude, just like, can we stop at one of these restaurants or whatever? He's like, we're 5 minutes. Just wait. We get there, park, and I'm hurting. I run into my buddy's place. I have the key, and it's like a 3-story walk up. He is the top floor of this place. So I got to go up 3 flights of stairs, and my hand is shaking trying to put the key in his front door to get into this building. And I like miss twice, and then it just starts coming out. I just started peeing, finally open up the door, get in, and instead of trying to run up these 3 stairs as it's coming down my leg, I just go into his basement. I just run down to their like basement of this complex, and I just unloaded, peed my pants.
What kind of pants were you wearing?
I was wearing golf shorts, and so it wasn't the worst.
Down your leg.
All down my leg. I was wearing sandals. Sandals were just coated. And here's the kicker, though. I go back down there. I go out to my buddy's place, tell him I just peed my pants, take a shower, walk back down with a bunch of paper towels and whatever to clean it up. And a woman from a different apartment or a different condo in their building starts walking down to the basement because that's where like the laundry is for the whole unit.
Oh no!
And she's like, "Oh, why is there like water? What happened?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, my dog peed."
You had to say your dog peed?
Yeah, I lied. I said my dog peed.
That's incredible. I guess I probably would have done something similar.
Peed. Yeah. I mean, what am I gonna tell her? Oh yeah, I just peed my pants. Sorry. You want to step in it more?
That's incredible. Yeah. That's incredible. How'd she respond to the dog pee?
She was very understanding, as one should be, about a dog peeing. Human peeing, I would not. What kind of?
So the basement had to have like a concrete flooring.
Yeah, the basement was all concrete and then like wooden steps. So like it just had a little bit on the carpet in his atrium, but whatever.
Which I mean is kind of par for the course. You know, you're having a good weekend.
So that was
gonna get to pee on the carpet.
Yeah,
that is a fantastic story. I'm sorry we couldn't tell it yesterday or Monday because I had the cannabis Emerald Crossings. I got a lot of DMs about like, oh my gosh, I've been to
Emerald Cross.
Yeah, no, I've been to a bunch of like weed shops in San Jose. San Jose was loaded with them. Emerald Crossings was just one of 1,000 gems. All right, some things off the rip here before we get into the 2022 NFL draft prospects in every Power. I think we did Power 5 conference. Oh, and Group of 5.
And just a 10 of the Group of 5.
10 of the Group of 5. You love to see it. Some news here. Carson Wentz, Quentin Nelson both have the same injury. Oh, wow. 5 to 12 weeks.
Check that turf out there in India. What's going on?
That's got to be something. But I guess Carson Wentz had a previously Carson Wentz had a previously broken foot and that like bone came loose. Quentin Nelson, 5 to 12 week timeline. I've talked to our injury analyst about why it's a 5 to 12 week timeline. And it's hard to explain. Maybe you can help. Your mom's a doctor.
My dad's a doctor.
Your dad's a doctor.
I didn't even ask him about this one because I wasn't too I don't know. It wasn't like I didn't really care that much.
I'm going to try and dumb this down as best I can. Okay. Mario Pilato injury analyst here at PFF, said this injury, the reason it's 5 to 12 weeks isn't necessarily that it could be like 5, 6, 7, 8. It's not like, it's more like, hey, if it heals this way, it's gonna be like 5 to 6 weeks. If it heals this way, it's gonna be like 11 to 12. Oh. It all depends on like how it's gonna heal, and everybody's body apparently is different on how this bone heals or how this injury heals. So that's why, and you can't tell from the MRI scans if your body's gonna heal the 5 to 6 week way or the 11 to 12 week way. And the reason I brought this up on the social media call this morning is because Quentin Nelson said 5 week timeline. I'm going to do everything I can to make it happen. I don't think it's honestly something you can really, really control.
Yeah.
Like your body has to like make it happen.
I want to ask my dad about this, but every time I ask him about injuries, it turns like an hour conversation. So this one, I'm not sure I care. You need to talk to
your dad more anyway. Give him a call, especially with 2 players hurt, Wentz and Nelson.
I'll ask him about
Get him on.
It'll be a while.
Next thing
but I do think that in that scenario, everyone's saying, oh, go get Nick Foles. One, Nick Foles is the last guy I trade for. If you want to just ruin Carson Wentz's chance of ever having a good season, go trade for Nick Foles. Sure, he will be a mental midget.
It'll be like you with pissed pants on the bathroom.
Yeah, it will be what it will be like. He'll be peeing down his leg. We'll be brothers in that sense. But that's the last thing I would do. I think you just got to ride it out.
Yeah,
like
100%.
If you're going to bring in anyone, Phillip Rivers is who I'd bring in.
Yeah, and then we saw Phillip Rivers yesterday. Sam Farmer, reporter of the LA Times, said he was talking to Phillip Rivers. He's down there coaching in Alabama, I believe. His first year as a head coach at a high school in Alabama. He said he wouldn't make weight if he was going to go today. Like he's not been like training for it, but he said he wants to get back into it and potentially return late in the season. So I don't think he'd be ready anytime soon. But maybe if the Colts said, hey, if you can get back by week 6, we're fucking in. I don't know. Like there could be an opportunity there. But at the same time too, though, it's 5 to 12 weeks. Good chance that he could come back by like week 1, week 2. Who knows? I think you ride out Jacob Eason. Like I don't think it's smart to like start to trade assets or mortgage anything. Like the Jimmy G stuff. Like, would you trade for Jimmy G? I don't think I would.
No, yeah.
I said I tweeted this out. If the Carson Wentz injury was season ending, Marcus Mariota was the guy I like because I don't like Jimmy G's contract at all. Yeah. And Marcus Mariota, I think you come in and honestly potentially even outperform what Wentz was capable of.
We just start going run heavy with it, just a rushing threat at quarterback.
Yeah,
I think with that offensive line with Jonathan Taylor would give you a higher floor, at least offensively. Yeah. And you can hope you can win games to the defense. But the Phillip Rivers thing is interesting because, one, very similar sort of gamer traits to Brett Favre. And it kind of retires early. And I don't think anyone says, I'd come back if they really weren't getting that itch to try to come back.
Yeah.
So
he's coaching high school football and has 9 kids. I think anyone and their mother would want to come back from that.
Exactly. What did someone tweet? Like, he finally was with his had to stay home with his kids for once in his life and was like, yeah, I want to come back.
I mean, it's just tough, man. I think going from that NFL lifestyle to a way more sedentary lifestyle, I think you have to be like physically, competitively ready for it. There's just no, and obviously I'm speaking completely not with experience, but I can imagine that like Phillip Rivers, 17 years in the NFL, competing like every single day in training to go to like coaching high school football and watching kids, like that's fucking rough.
I don't know, like what is he doing, talking shit to the kids? Like he has to still
he does have enough to even start a little league.
Yeah, to talk shit to his own kids.
Yeah, it could be all-time QB for like each of the guys there. Some other stuff here. What has been your favorite training camp highlight so far?
Oof, some good ones.
Why is it the Trey Lance throw yesterday?
That Trey Lance throw, that was a good throw.
It was cool.
It was the angle of the camera and the sort of what am I trying to say?
I have no idea.
Just kind of the cinematography of it all. That made it better. But it was the Derwin James lock it down Keenan Allen, because for the longest time I've been of the opinion that Derwin James could just play outside cornerback and he'd be one of the best, like top 5 outside cornerback in the NFL. If you just threw him out there, he'd be like Jalen Ramsey when Jalen Ramsey went from safety to whatever, outside corner.
Yeah.
I think you could see a similar thing with Derwin James, and for him to just be locking down Keenan Allen, that's all I needed to see. 2 reps, all I needed to see. I'm all in on Derwin being just CB1.
I'm gonna keep leaning into this a little bit. Any CeeDee Lamb training camp highlight has been sick. He's been a monster for the Cowboys. I think the other one I saw, Walker Little, first time I think he's been in pads since like week 1, 2019, going against other human beings, has a little run blocking rep against Klieman. I got a little chippy at the back end of the whistle.
I didn't see this.
Yeah, it wasn't like anything special, but I like to see him get a little chippy. I like to see Walker Little getting a little aggressive.
You didn't like Tim Tebow's out route?
No, I didn't like Tim Tebow's out route. What's been the worst training camp clip you've seen so far? That's a great question.
Oh, the worst one? I'm trying to I feel like one-on-ones where like it's kind of a stalemate, but then whoever tweets it editorializes it as like this defensive player wins. It's like, nah, that was kind of just like nothing. Those ones are my least favorite, but
you can't win them all.
Yeah.
All right. Shall we get into the top defensive prospects in every conference?
We should. Defensive?
No. Overall, I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
SEC. Let's start with the SEC.
Start with the SEC.
I'm going to read. Do we want to go one by one here?
Just read the top 10?
Yeah.
5?
I'll read the top 5 and then we'll read the next 5.
Okay.
Number 1, Derek Stingley Jr., cornerback LSU, obviously. DeMarvin Leal, defensive tackle, Texas A&M. He's going to be up there for a while. Evan Neal, offensive tackle for Alabama. Kyer Elam, cornerback, Florida. And then Kingsley Enagbare, the edge defender for South Carolina. Those are your top 5 2022 draft prospects up there.
So when I was going through the top 50, when I put that together, which came out a couple weeks ago, go check it out if you have not. I didn't realize that 20 of the guys are from the SEC.
Really?
And this top 5, all those guys are in the top 10 on the draft board. SEC has some goddamn talent coming back. I mean, everyone shits on the SEC. Oh, they're overrated every year. Oh, this team's 9-3. Why are they in the top 10? Well, it's because and if you go back through the NFL drafts and whatnot, like it's true. They have the most, like these teams have the most draftable talent. Like you have teams like, I don't know, Texas A&M, who I don't think is going to be first or second in the SEC this season, who had 5 guys in the top 50. Like these are loaded teams in this conference, only going to get more so when Oklahoma and Texas join, obviously. But yeah, SEC, and I think they even benefited a lot. A lot of these prospects will benefit from the fact that they played full season last year when not a lot of other teams did. They played a full season and only played themselves. Like they only played against other good competition. So this is what is a loaded conference yet again. Stingley, though, man, he's so good. So rumor is, or the sort of hype around LSU is he might play offense. And
I've heard that too.
Goddamn, I would love to see that. I have no clue how good he'll be. It would be incredible. Like we haven't seen a guy go both ways in a minute. It's like kind of a dated thing. I'm trying to think of even the last guy who.
So if he does play both ways, how many snaps do you think he sees?
For Michigan State played both ways, but maybe I'm not sure he played
simultaneously.
Any single game.
He started at receiver, went to corner, or started at corner, went to receiver.
Yeah.
Right? But I think with Derek Stingley, like even if he does play offense, there's no way he's playing like full time both ways.
Yeah,
that would be insane.
That would be sick. But I just get him touches, dude. Let's see it. Let's see how it goes. But he's so damn good.
How close is Stingley to Elam for you?
I don't think it's that close, but that's nothing against Elam. It's more of just Stingley's insane. Like Stingley, for him to fail with how just freakishly athletic he is and how much he's already done it at the college level, collegiate level, as freshman, sophomore, it would be wild to me. Like this isn't a D. Milliner situation.
I definitely think the player to watch from that first 5 too is Kingsley Enagbare, the defensive end for South Carolina. 6'4", 270, earned an 89.2 PFF pass rushing grade this past year, and has only played a little over 500 pass rushing snaps in his career. Has never played more than 400 snaps in any single season. I think this upcoming year, obviously all eyes are on Kayvon Thibodeau, the edge defender out of Oregon, who is some see as a number 1 overall pick. I think Seth Galina, who gets into Cincinnati today, by the way. Seth Galina gets into Cincinnati today. He's staying with me on an air mattress, which is going to be an absolute treat.
Oh, yeah.
But I do think that you're going to want to watch this kid. I think this is a good list for if you're planning your college football Saturdays by conference. Turn on some South Carolina tape this year, specifically on the defense side of the ball, because I do think specifically late in the season, he started to turn it on. An 89.2 PFF pass rushing grade this past year. I think he's going to be a name to watch and what should be a very interesting edge class.
Yeah, you doing all right there? You maybe take a cough. All right,
I came back.
Kingsley Enagbare, he reminds me of kind of Peyton Turner from last year. Their tape was very similar in that you see the things you want to see from a prospect in terms of the frame, the athleticism, the way they like the willingness to play physical. Now, are they look like the Bosa's and how they rush the pass? Or are they that consistent? Not even close. Like there's a ways to go. Enagbare obviously comes back to school. Turner obviously was a senior and goes to the draft. But like it's enough that you can see where they can end up, and it's very high level play.
All right, next 5 in the SEC. Safety Jordan Battle, Bama. edge defender Adam Anderson, Georgia. Georgia's got talent on the defense side of the ball. This is going to be, I think, David Sofaro, former production assistant here on the 2-for-1 Drafts podcast, now manager, public relations manager here at PFF.
Nice.
He has a pick for Georgia to be the winner of the national championship this year. He believes in JT Daniels.
Did I pick them too?
Did you?
They asked me to pick teams, and I can't remember.
You're travesty. Anyway, Adam Anderson of Georgia, the edge defender.
No, I picked Oklahoma, but Georgia would be second.
Yeah.
Georgia's, their defensive side of the ball is out of this world. Adam Anderson, Kobe Dean, who's 9th on this list. Did you get through the whole
I didn't get through the list yet.
Keep going.
Adam Anderson, Georgia edge. Kenyon Green, tackle out Texas A&M. Kobe Dean, Georgia. And then Treylon Burks, wide receiver, Arkansas. Not a lot of offensive players on this list. A lot of defensive talent in the SEC. Where I'd like to start before you get into Kobe Dean. Or let's start with the two Georgia guys. Adam Anderson, Kobe Dean. Anderson, man, is another guy, and you've highlighted him too as a breakout candidate. 92.4 pass rushing grade this past year, but such a small sample size. He's only played 337 snaps in his career. Kingsley played more than that last year. Yeah. So I do think Adam Anderson, the biggest thing for him is getting on the football field and doing it across a larger sample size. But man, does he have the tools? Does he have the skills to be a legitimate difference maker? Had 8 pressures against Cincinnati. Yes, it was against some bad tackle play, but still really turned it on that game. A 92.4 pass rushing grade this past year. Man, goodness. I do think that a larger sample size, you see Adam Anderson play as he did last year. I mean, you're going to be talking about, again, another legit edge prospect.
We buried the lead there. 8 pressures against Cincinnati on 12 pass rushing snaps.
Oh, wow.
He was
I didn't even
every
see.
time.
He was only in for 12 pass rushing snaps and got 8 pressures?
Just every time he's on the field. Like, he gets a one-on-one. He won last year. And now, Georgia's defense, we've talked about a lot, how they preach run defense. Run first. They have run Tuesdays or whatever, where they just
Bloody Sundays or something.
Yeah.
Bloody Wednesdays.
But that's why he doesn't see the field, is he's not particularly interested in that aspect. Now, the NFL level, that can play. College level, maybe not as much. So I think they're experimenting with him off the ball because he is 6'5", 230. He is not quite your ideal edge body just yet. Now, could he get there? I think so. And obviously, even on his tape, like, he is bull rushing guys. That's never really was an issue for him as a pass rusher at the college level. But you're going to need to get a little bigger at the NFL level. He's 6'5". He has the wingspan. He has the frame to put on more. So we'll see where his body ends up. We'll see where his position ends up this fall. But the talent, undeniable there.
Kobe Dean, the linebacker, 6 foot 220. Past year, a 74.3 PFF grade. Where are you at with Kobe Dean?
He reminds me of a he just reminds me of Devin Bush. He's a little bit smaller than Devin Bush at the moment, but that level of just explosiveness, of sideline ability, where he could just flat out cover more ground than any linebacker maybe in college football. The guy can fly, and he is so aggressive with how he plays. Like, you don't have to coach up the taking on blocks aspect, the physical aspects of the game that some guys just don't have naturally. Dean, he plays a violent brand of football for a linebacker, and he started over Monty
the field
Rice
at that size,
yeah.
and obviously a defense that prioritizes defending the run. You have to have that mentality to be able to take on blocks.
He took Monty Rice's job last year as a sophomore. Monty Rice, senior, multiple-year starter. He took the every down role, and Monty Rice then still won the 3rd round. So he took a 3rd round linebacker's job
as a true sophomore.
Yeah.
Kobe Dean, another name to watch, man. This is getting me excited. Let's jump to the Big Ten. Unless you want to touch on Treylon Burks for us. It was like one of the few offensive players in there, the only skill player outside of maybe Derek Stingley, obviously playing both sides of the ball. But is Burks going to be that big receiver you like, or is it going to be the big receiver you shy away from?
I think
big receivers with you never know.
Because I think he has the athleticism. He's 6'3", 230. He is huge, but he's also fast. Like, he's probably, if I were just estimate based off his tape, a mid to low 4.4s guy. Like, he can change angles from safeties, from whatever. But now he's only played in the slot. He has been the big slot in Arkansas's offense, not obviously a super diverse and the route tree you'd like to see from a guy that size. But I still think the physical tools are there to succeed when you are that bigger dude. And you see it after the catch. 9 broken tackles last year on 50 catches.
I do think he's going to be a guy, too, that a lot of people flock to because the highlight reel is going to be stupid. 6'3", 232. I mean, he's got contested catch ability, 8 of 12 last year, 7 of 17 the previous year. I mean, when you're breaking tackles at that size too, I think there's going to be a lot of reasons to like. He's going to be a highlight reel type of player. While you're talking about,
he's producing with Felipe Franks too. That's the other thing. It's like you didn't have Mac Jones throwing you the ball.
While we're talking about wide receivers, this was an undercovered story. I didn't even tweet about it. I guess I could have amplified the message. But Amari Cooper told reporters he's down to 210, I think, or 215.
Okay.
He said he played last year at 6'1", 225.
Damn.
And he was still like, I mean, that is rare. What he was able to do at receiver at 6'1", 225, that's like a running back.
Yeah, it's like James Starks.
That's like rocked up right there. I was like, whoa, are we going to comment on the fact that Amari Cooper played last year at fucking 225? That's crazy. I mean, my goodness. I mean, Treylon Burks, like you said, 232, obviously a lot taller, but still, my God. All right, Big Ten. Some receiving talent in this one, man. Garrett Wilson, Ohio State. It's going to be PFF's wide receiver 1 for the foreseeable future. But right after him, Tyler Linderbaum, the interior offensive lineman, center at Iowa. Then you have Chris Olave, other wide receiver at Ohio State. My guy, safety Brandon Joseph, Northwestern at number 4. This kid is a stud. This kid, I mean, I feel like obviously I always take too much away from the interviews and you hate me for it, but man, listen to the interview. It was on the previous podcast, the Monday episode. He is a man. He's going to be a dude this year. I'm really excited for Brandon Joseph.
Last year.
He was a dude last year, and he was young. I think this year he's going to be a monster. And then the last of the 5 here, then we'll get to the next 5. Aiden Hutchinson, edge defender, Michigan, go blue.
Yes. Joseph, sadly, didn't make the draft guide due to a
Mike Renner error.
It said he was a freshman, true freshman.
Yeah, we had an error there.
So we effed that up, but he is safety 3 on the draft board, behind Battle of Alabama and our boy Kyle Hamilton, Notre Dame at number 1. But all 3 of those guys. So I said there hasn't been a safety draft in the first round the last 2 years. I would not be surprised if all 3 of those guys ended up in the first round.
Really?
I think all 3 of them have the NFL.
That's a quote graphic right there. Social's going to flock.
From Hamilton's obviously like, Isaiah Simmons light. You got Battle's kind of your all-around size, sort of like the versatile safety that everyone's
also
looking
a super
for.
smart player from what I see.
And Joseph is your single high, rangy playmaker who's not like a super risk taker like an Andre Sisco. He's just very, very good and very athletic. Like the guy can fly on the back end. So he's 4th on this list of the Big Ten. Could even, I don't know if he pushed higher because this is damn good. Like those guys at the top, Garrett Wilson, Tyler Linderbaum, Chris Olave, studs. But Joseph is going to be a player. The Wilson-Olave conversation is interesting. To me, the kind of the tiebreaker, like both are very good at what they do. Olave, I have no sort of questions about him.
Olave has better straight line speed than Wilson.
As an intermediate deep threat. I just think he's a tad limited. I think Wilson's better after the catch, a little better underneath, getting off the line, a little more of explosive sort of sudden player.
Absolutely.
Leaper. So
Wilson has the dynamism, the explosiveness, the suddenness, and also like I hate to use like a Madden thing, but like the spectacular catch ability.
Yeah.
He's
a little higher.
He's a little higher in there. But then for Chris Olave, consistent, good straight line speed. Like that, I mean, former track star, like both of these guys are studs. I think they're complementary too is the thing. Like they both have complementary skill sets. Very, very interested to see how they work in Ohio State's offense this upcoming year with Quentin Ewers maybe getting some snaps. Who knows? No, it's going to be obviously CJ Stroud or whoever they want to put out there. For Brandon Joseph.
That would be wild though if Ewers wins the job. I do think
there's
that
no
whole conversation around him
could?
to like reclassifying is interesting. I don't really people are up in arms about like whatever. I don't really have a problem with it, but like I don't know. Is he going to get that much NIL money just sitting on the bench for a year? Is that?
I mean, no, but you could lock up contracts for the future.
Yeah.
Here comes X company, and they say, hey, we're going to pay you X amount of money right now, so that way when you are starting, you're our guy. I mean, that's going to happen. Literally, that could have happened last night. That honestly could have happened last night. For Brandon Joseph, I wanted to add this: an 88.5 PFF coverage grade. And for those who don't know, he's also that guy who had that absurd pick.
The one-handed pick.
Yeah, the one-handed pick. Talked about that. He said it was easy money. He said, I knew I was one-on-one. I knew I was one-on-one on Wilson. I just had to make a play. I was like, fucking fair enough. And then the other thing too is his coach and him are big on him adding weight. He's 6'1", 192 listed. Yeah. But they want to get him over the 200 range, 205 and stuff like that. But if he does add that weight, 261, 205, rangy, I'm getting excited. I'm getting excited about the safety prospect, especially because we've had a Darth I'm gonna use that word. A dearth. Is that dearth?
Dearth.
A dearth of safety talent lately in terms of guys who could be like legit first round picks. I mean, one of our favorite guys went undrafted last year. Like we need some safety talent. We need an injection of the Hamilton, Brandon Joseph, Jordan Battle, and I'm excited to see it. Any other? Aiden Hutchinson, another one of your types, lunch pail types.
What's my type supposed to be?
Your type for edge. Your types for edge are those like bigger edges that play like the Peyton Turners, the Zach Allens. That's
sorry, I can't call a Michigan guy my type, but thank you.
Fair enough.
So Aiden Hutchinson, George Karlaftis, who's 6th on this list.
Yeah, Purdue guy.
Similar, inside outside, versatile, long. Actually, Karlaftis isn't that long, but like bigger, power defensive ends who have that versatility. Who will be I don't want to say sure things in the run game, but you feel very good about them producing in the run game. I actually like Hutchinson more on the edge. He's more of a 3-4 defensive end by type. He'll fit in those schemes. Whereas I think Karlaftis can get bigger and just play on the interior. I think that's where he's at his best. I'm excited to see him this year because he was a little banged up last year. Only plays 3 games. Obviously, COVID impacted. He had a monster freshman year. He played 843 snaps and had 55 pressures. George Karlaftis, Purdue defensive end, as a true freshman. Those are numbers that you just don't see from true freshmen. And so we're kind of getting 2 years now of development to see in 2021 because we kind of missed out on 2020 seeing that. So to see what he looks like, he could come back and be dominant because he was already physically manhandling dudes as an 18-year-old.
I'll tell you right now, Jeff Brom, Purdue head coach, on this podcast, there is not a player in the country that got more praise than him from Brom. And they recently recruited his younger brother. I think he's a true freshman there. And they see these Karlaftis kids are absolute grinders. I imagine both of them have tattoos of John Gruden on their back because like he didn't speak to his athleticism. He didn't speak to his size. He spoke to the work ethic.
No, he's a shit athlete. He stinks.
Yeah, but he's just like. This is like he says that classic coach speak when you land on a player like a Karlaftis that just puts in the work. He's like, he is here first, he is here last, all that stuff.
He's the Robbie Hummel of Purdue football.
Honestly, I think Karlaftis, you couldn't get higher praise from Brom on Karlaftis. So I do think seeing this 2021 campaign will be sick. And Aiden Hutchinson too. I think Aiden Hutchinson, an 88.8 run defense grade this past year. Like you said, built to play that kind of 3-4 defensive end role, 6'6", 270. I know a guy you liked even in the 2020 class, potentially if he didn't declare. Where would you have put him from around?
Probably like a second rounder last year.
Oh, really?
He broke his leg. And obviously that's why he's back this year. Only 2 games last year.
Gotcha. Well, let's continue to move this train down. Jaquan Brisker, who we're working to get on this podcast, by the way, is number 7 after George Karlaftis, the Penn State safety. Then you have Thayer Mumford, offensive tackle of Ohio State, Rasheed Walker, Penn State, and then Haskell Garrett, defensive tackle. Rasheed Walker, tackle, Penn State, and then Haskell Garrett, the older. This guy's old. How old is Haskell Garrett? Older defensive tackle, Ohio State. I think he's like 24. Yeah. He might be an older. I'm going to look up his age.
He might be a grad, or he might be a 6th year, or he's at least 5th year. But he's still another weak GT class. I think
he's only 23.
Okay.
He'll be 24 during the draft.
So, yeah. A little on the older side, but he was pretty dominant in his first year. Started last year. Brisker is the interesting name to me. I'm a big fan of his. Again, I think it's got to be a good safety class should these guys declare. Brisker will most definitely declare. He's a 5th year. He spent 2 years at JUCO. Has started this past year. Was a part-time player in 2019, but the dude is one of the most physical safeties in the country. And crazy stat: 1 missed tackle on 60 attempts last year for a safety. Out of this world.
And when you fly like a bat out of hell with the hits, and you're only missing, you're only missing one. That's absurd.
He's. Oof! My watch just
What's your
talking
problem?
to me. I don't even know how that one happened. Unfortunate. All right.
Yeah. So over 400 snaps played, though, in each of the past 2 years for Penn State. An 82.0 PFF grade in 2019, 82.8 in 2020. And like you said, only 1 missed tackle this past year for Penn State. Here we go. We're out of the Big Ten. And we're on to Western Southern. Western Southern. People forget the sponsor here, helping the 2-for-1 Drafts podcast. In these uncertain times, life is full of questions. Like, when should I start thinking about life insurance? But however difficult these questions may be, Western Southern can help you answer them. Backed by over 130 years of experience, together we can look ahead to leave the unknown behind. Western Southern Financial Group, life insurance, retirement, and investments. We are on to the Big 12. Going to start with, obviously, number 1, Spencer Rattler, quarterback, Oklahoma. Sure. 2, edge defender, Nick Benito, Oklahoma. 3, Noah Daniels, corner, on this podcast, by the way. You can listen to an interview with Noah Daniels, the top corner in the Big 12, later in the show. Number 4, running back Breece Hall, Iowa State. 5, linebacker DeMarvion Overshown, Texas.
Yeah, the Oklahoma guys we don't need to talk too much about. We've talked a ton about him. Daniels is the fun one. Only 353 career snaps so far. High-level athlete. There's a video of him cleaning. So hang cleaning. You know what that is, where you're just flipping the bars. So like there's that video of was Tristan Wirfs hang clean like 420 or 430 a couple times. There's a video of him hang clean 390. He's a 195-pound cornerback.
Lighter than that.
Guy's explosive as hell for his size. Obviously, he's been ravaged with injuries. Missed all 2019 with a shoulder, I believe. Only played 4 games this past year, 2020, then towards ACL. So not good from that perspective, but anytime he's been on the field, he's been excellent. 79.9 coverage grade in 2020 on 103 coverage snaps, only allowed 6 of 18 targets all season. Like he was shut down. Videos of him in practice that are pretty silky that got tweeted out a while ago that I would recommend watching. He's just, to me, he's probably the best non-SEC cornerback. Him and Ahmad Gardner are very neck and neck right at the moment for me.
Yeah, so Noah Daniels, biggest question mark with him is those injuries. And I talked to him in this interview about those. He said his knee will be 98% according to doctors in 4 weeks, and his body will be completely healed 4 weeks after that, 100% healthy. I think he's added a nutritionist to his game to add some weight. They're trying to add some beef to his frame. And he's also approaching the weight room and doing more supersetting and stuff like that to avoid these injuries. He's trying to get better here, okay? Because he knows if he fucking stays healthy, he's going to be the best cornerback in the country.
Man, a nutritionist to gain weight. That seems like that just...
You got to get force fed.
That's me overnight. Like I need nothing to gain weight. It's so easy.
But you got to gain the right weight.
Well, yeah, true. But
he's getting these fire shakes in the morning that you aren't getting. You're eating terrible food in the morning.
I don't know. I skip breakfast. I'm a breakfast skipper.
Nice.
Yeah.
You want to talk Breece Hall, DeMarvion Overshown before we get to the next 6 here?
DeMarvion Overshown. So Breece Hall is RB1 at the moment. We've talked a lot about him. He's just very good all-around profile. I don't think he's anything, I wouldn't call him an elite athlete by any means, but he's more than good enough. He's a starter in the NFL. Overshown is the interesting one. Former safety, 6'4", 220. A unique, he's basically Kyle Hamilton's size, the Notre Dame safety, but he plays linebacker. And last year was his first year starting at linebacker. Ton of plays and coverage, but he also looked like a safety playing linebacker, like taking on blocks, trying to stick his nose in stuff a running back in the hole. He's the one going backwards. It's just difficult to play. So kind of an interesting. It'll be interesting to see his growth curve and what he looks like in year 2 at the linebacker position, what his body even looks like in year 2. So he's kind of the unique case study there to keep an eye on for the Longhorns.
I think Texas' defense is going to be interesting because T'Vondre Sweat is another guy you really like, the big monster in at nose. We're talking to him on this podcast in the near future. Watching his tape, that's one of those Tyler Shelvin types. This guy's just an absolute behemoth. He's added a ton of weight since high school, though. Like you look at some of his high school photos, he's not a monster. So I am interested to see like how he's put on that much weight because he's like looking at like 330,
freshman
335
15
right now.
I mean, just got to college.
Dude, he added like a freshman 100.
The chocolate milk fountain at the.
Is there a chocolate milk fountain at Texas?
I don't know, but just at the dining hall. I used to house chocolate milk my freshman year, and I was like, oh, wait, this is actually probably awful for me.
All right.
I put down 3 glasses at like every meal.
Next 5 in the Big 12 here. Cornerback Travius Hodges-Tomlinson, I think nephew of LaDainian Tomlinson. He's a cornerback there at TCU.
I would say if your name's Tomlinson, you got to go to TCU, even if you're not related.
I agree.
It's just
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Safety Trey Sterling, Oklahoma State. Quarterback Brock Purdy, Iowa State. Edge defender Isaiah Thomas, Oklahoma. The Clemson transfer, right? Did he transfer from Clemson?
I don't think so.
Damn it. Isaiah Thomas, Oklahoma. And then defensive tackle T'Vondre Sweat, the guy I brought up earlier, up Texas, the monster.
I still believe in Brock Purdy. I can't quit him. I still think there's something there for how well he played as a true freshman at Iowa State. And just for the fact that he's goddamn doing it at Iowa State. Like they've had the best 3 years in program history. Now, obviously some of that's Matt Campbell. A lot of that is Matt Campbell. But I think some of it's also Brock Purdy. I think that there's something there that even though he's not a traitsy prospect, he does not have the arm that you're going to love. He's Mac Jones caliber arm talent. I still think the fact that he's doing it with not a lot of NFL talent around him. And the one year he did was his true freshman year, was when he graded the highest with Dave Montgomery and Hakeem Butler. He's not had a lot of guys since. I'm curious to see what his 2021 will look like if he takes that massive sort of jump forward.
What's wild too, every time you bring up Brock Purdy, I can't get that one pick out of my head. Remember when he threw it like backwards?
Oh, come on.
That's
the flipped it completely across the field.
That was one of the worst things I've ever seen.
Under pressure, yeah.
I think the most common tweet copy for that was, Siri, show me the worst interception you've ever seen. It was rough.
It was Aaron Brooks-esque. It really was.
It was tough. Talk to me more about Isaiah Thomas. Obviously, I'm an idiot. I thought he was a transfer from Clemson, but he's also former 4-star recruit there at Oklahoma.
So Oklahoma had this interesting trio last year along the edge. Thomas was probably looked the part the most. Like, he is 6'5", long, physical dude. He's just kind of stiff at that size. And so Benito, much more flexible, much more of a speed rusher. Thomas, more of a power player off the edge. Still kind of, I think he was the clear number 3 in that group last year.
Moving on to the Pac-12, starting with number 1, edge defender Kayvon Thibodeau, Oregon. We've talked about him a ton. Cornerback Trent McDuffie, Washington. Then you have offensive tackle Jackson Kirkland from Washington. 4, Keaton Slovis, USC quarterback. And then number 5, another USC player, Drake London, who Clay Helton is calling the next coming of Mike Evans, who, from a frame perspective, is
similar.
Close.
Yeah.
He's 6'5", 225. He's a monster. I'm interested to see.
Evans ran a 4.5 though. I'd be floored if London runs 4.5. Now, it's not saying he can't improve, but he's just a little slower, and he plays some slot. I think because of that is where he plays in USC's offense. I think that's his role also at the NFL level. But I think he'd be pretty damn good in it because he has, just in terms of body control. I mean, he plays on the USC basketball team as well, or played. I'm not sure if he did this past year with COVID or whatever, but plays freshman on the USC basketball team. You see that, caliber of athleticism, that body control, that ability to make guys miss after the catch. He's truly one of the best after the catch in the entire draft class. But I just don't necessarily see the speed, which honestly is not that, I don't think that massive of a deal with the rest of his skill set and what he can do. So I'm a fan of his. He's a top 5 wide receiver in his class on the board right now. But last year, 14 broken tackles and only 33 catches. It's insane. It's an insane rate.
How about Trent McDuffie? I think we always talk about the SEC quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. We also talk about Ahmad Garner. We talk about Noah Daniels. Trent McDuffie's another guy, though. You have what in your top 20 right now?
Oh, yeah. So I messed up saying that Noah Daniels was the best cornerback outside the SEC. No, it's Trent McDuffie. That's on me. McDuffie is very, very good. 41.5-inch vertical this spring. So now, I think I've said this before, he's 5'11", listed at 5'11", which means maybe he's 5'9.5", 5'10". Like, if you don't hit 6 foot, you're short as a cornerback. You are going to be undersized. If you're not listed at 6 foot in your college program, that's a problem. But when you have a 41.5-inch vertical, that can make up for it a little bit. That helps you out. A very explosive dude. Some of the best hips in the class. One of the best tacklers in the country at the position. Only 2 missed tackles on 64 career tackle attempts. He is going to be a great, great, great zone corner in the NFL. He just doesn't have the same sort of man skill set that the Stingleys of the world, the Elams of the world probably have at this point.
And then lastly from you, Keaton Slovis, what does he have to do for you to kind of, one, remove the bad taste in the mouth from last year? Because there was some ugly, ugly tape in 2020, but also improve to the point where he is like a legitimate first-round college player.
You just got to play flawless football then. You can't have the turnover where you can't have the 13 turnover where he plays in 6 games. You just can't be throwing the ball to the other team when you are a physically limited dude. It's not a runner, and he has mediocre arm strength. Just like that is not his game, but he does do a lot of the little things well. He's probably the best pocket presence I've seen of any cornerback in this upcoming class. Manipulates them really well. Like, he does a lot of the little things, but man, you just can't then throw the ball to the other team as consistently as he did, throw the ball up for grabs as consistently as he did, if you're going to convince people you can overcome, like I said, mediocre tools at the NFL level.
I do think, you go back to his 2019 season, the reason he graded so well and a lot of people held him in high regard is the accuracy. He was one of the most accurate quarterbacks we really saw in college football in 2019. Joe Burrow was the only one who was more accurate. And then 2020, you saw some of that fall off, and then you see the turnover the plays pick up. And it's like, okay, this is what happens when a limited limited from a tools perspective quarterback doesn't do all the little things well. When it doesn't work out, then you start to see, Keaton Silva slide down boards, and a lot of people kind of speculate, can he be that first round caliber player? All right, 6 through 10 here. You have Jermaine Lole of Arizona State. Then you have edge defender Zion Tupuola Fatui, Washington edge. Edge defender Drake Jackson, another USC prospect that people are high on. Then you have interior offensive lineman Donovan West, who is moving to center this year for Arizona State. And then offensive tackle Abraham Lucas, Washington State. A guy that probably will have the most true pass blocking snaps of any tackle in this class. He has played a ton of football, and at Washington State, they pass the ball a fucking ton.
Yeah. The interesting name here to me that sadly, I don't even know if we're going to see this fall, is ZTF, Zion Tupuola Fatui from Washington. So he was awesome last year. First year as a starter, junior year, 4 games, 91.8 pass rushing grade, dominant in every single one. 20 pressures in those 4 games. Is 6'3", 280, and plays very physical. The best bull rusher in the country last year, like bar none, in my opinion. But then he tears his Achilles in April, I want to say. Or at a point in time where if he comes back this year, it's going to be midway through the year at least. So really screwed from that perspective. I don't know if we even see him, and if he comes back for so this is redshirt junior year, so he'd have to come back for his redshirt senior year then, which sucks because his tape was so much fun to watch last year. But yeah, I just don't see how he can come back from an Achilles, play well enough in 4 or 5 games or whatever he's going to get his draft stock into a point where he would want it to be. So that's the sad one for me. But Jermaine Lole is the one who he might end up as DT1 in this class. Arizona State defensive tackle. He is probably about 6 foot tall, but very athletic, plays with very good leverage, and yes, he's only 6'1", but he's 310. Like, he is not small. He is enormous for a 6 foot tall human being. So those are the intriguing guys on that half of the list for me.
I do think Jermaine Lole too is the first step stuff that you see on his tape. I think is very good. I'm a big fan of Lole. And Arizona State, watch a ton of Arizona State prepping for a Herm Edwards interview that we never aired.
Herm Edwards is a big fan of him too, even though you guys wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
Should we just air it?
We should just air it. We should just air it. Even though I feel like it was a
little dramatic. I was like
too dramatic. Way too dramatic.
When whatever those allegations came out, I read them and I'm like, yeah, just air it. Whatever. It's not like
next time. Next one of these podcasts will air because we still have it. It's still sick. All right, moving to the ACC, and you added Notre Dame to this list
because they were in the ACC, but they're not going to ever be again. Hopefully,
Kyle Hamilton, safety, Notre Dame #1, obviously ahead of Sam Howell.
Yes.
What's your problem? Sam Howell, quarterback, UNC at 2. Then you have the monster # most fun to watch interior offensive lineman in college football right now, Ikem Ekwonu of NC State. Then you have Andrew Booth, cornerback, Clemson. Justin Ross, wide receiver, Clemson. Talked to Jakari Robertson last night. He's going head-to-head with Ross, trying to be the best receiver in the ACC. Ooh. We'll see how it goes. But that's your first 5 of the 2022 draft prospects in the ACC.
Yes.
Yes.
Kyle Hamilton I was responding to Kyle Hamilton over Sam Howell still. Yes. Hamilton's that good. Now, could Howell with a big 2021, like we've said, without the receiving talent that he's been blessed with there over the course of his career, could he make his way higher? Of course. But I don't see Hamilton really falling off of what we've seen from him on tape because it's been that good through 2 years. I mean, as a true freshman, on 250 coverage snaps, he allowed 7 of 23 targets, had 4 picks and 5 pass breakups. Then this past year, 31 targets, 6 more pass breakups and a pick. The ball production, so for his career, 54 targets, 11 pass breakups on those and 5 picks. That is insane ball production for a safety. And let alone one who's 6'4", 220, and can rush the passer at a high level, can take on blocks already. Like, this guy's, he's your Derwin James, Jamal Adams mold safety that those guys Jamal Adams went 6th in the draft. I fully expect that's where Hamilton went. That range is where Hamilton will end up.
I also feel like with top prospects like Hamilton, we rarely bring them up as fun to watch players. But man, he's a guy that he consistently makes splash plays both in coverage and against the run. Physical tackler. I do think, again, it comes back to this. It's been a while since we've seen some fucking legit safety play in college. Like seeing some like legit safety prospects, like multiple guys, like you said, Hamilton, Battle, Joseph, all could be, top 20, top 30 picks in 2022, and they've played like it. You've seen some of those splash plays. I'm excited to see it, man. This is going to be sweet. Let's talk a little bit more about Justin Ross. Where are you at with him? Where is he in this receiving class? And I guess, because he's another one of those big body guys. Like, what's your take on Ross?
I was never enthralled with him as even before. So obviously he had neck fusion surgery prior to last season. It was congenital, whatever, in his neck. He didn't have any injury. It's just like the doctors found it, had to fuse it. His career was in jeopardy. Will be coming back though this upcoming fall. Missed all of 2020. Coming back this year, 1,000 yards as a true freshman, had that massive season. But then the next year, I think you started to see the fact that opposing defenses realize he just doesn't have that vertical threat. He is not a speedster. The plays he's making down the football field are pretty much all contested. So it's
a very high percentage of contested targets.
Yeah, 25 contested targets back in 2019. Only caught 11 of them. He's 6'4", 205. He's not like that's going to be his game. And again, London has, we talked about Drake London, similarly sized wide receiver. London has the after the catch ability and, in my opinion, just better body control. And so Ross, I don't think, has nearly that yak ability and still has the same speed concern. So that's why I'd lean far more towards London than Ross, but I'd like to be proven wrong. Obviously this fall, those were early on tapes in his career to be basing this off of as a freshman, sophomore.
Yeah, that freshman season, a 91.4 PFF grade, caught 6 of 13 contested targets over 1,000 yards receiving in that season. I do think that they contested stuff tough. Huh?
Exactly 1,000 yards.
Exactly 1,000 yards? Yeah. Oh, wow. He did have exactly 1,000 yards.
I think that was the highest yards per route of any season we've seen.
Yeah, it was like a little over 4.
Almost 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Insane. Next 5 here on the ACC. Tyler Davis, defensive tackle, Clemson. Jarrett Patterson, interior offensive lineman, Notre Dame. Alex Lindstrom, younger brother of Chris Lindstrom, Boston College, another interior offensive lineman. Then you got safety returning to Miami, Bubba Bolden. And then running back, Zonovan Knight, running behind Akeem Ekwonu at NC State.
Yes, the draft talent we saw in the SEC or ACC, last year, kind of fallen by the wayside a touch. Not quite there. But like these guys some of these might be day 3 guys at this point. So that's not so bueno. I think the interesting ones here are the interior offensive linemen. Patterson and Lindstrom, probably the 2 best pure centers in this class behind Tyler Linderbaum. Plausible day 2 picks on both.
Fair. All right.
Group of 5.
Number 1, obviously. Quarterback, Malik Willis, Liberty. 2, Ahmad Sauce Gardner, the corner at University of Cincinnati. Wide receiver, Romeo Doubs, Nevada. Carson Strong, quarterback, Nevada. And then number 5, edge defender, Myjai Sanders. My guy, Myjai Sanders, Cincinnati. A guy that, man, if he goes out and does what he's capable of from a tools perspective, like his tools, his length, his explosiveness, and is objectively the best edge defender in the group of 5. I mean, we're talking about a first-round player. But he needs to show up. Like, you need to put it all together. When you're going against group of 5 competition, you need to have Chase Young, final year at Ohio State-like seasons. Like, you need to have that level of dominance every single week. Because the question becomes, if you're not, why? If Myjai Sanders, with all the tools he has, and everyone's going to talk about his speed and his length and all that stuff, why weren't you dominated at University of Cincinnati? The coaching there is fantastic. They have a fantastic secondary to give him time to get to the passer. To the passer, I do think that Myjai Sanders, like, the opportunity is there. It's for him to take it. Yeah,
I think he will still end up back end or early second round, back end of the first, early second round, because he has those tools. Like, he has what the NFL is looking for. Gardner is the interesting one because I think just the competition he's gone against has been so just meh throughout his career that, he can beat him up by being, this bully that kind of just plays this overly physical game because he's super long. a unique corner in his own right at 6'2", 190. I'm curious to see. He's been posting these videos on Instagram of him lifting and whatnot. It looks bigger, but I was be curious to see how much bigger he is this upcoming season, because if he's got like 6'2", 205, I mean, that is a horse of a corner, and that'll be a lot of the man teams that use those bigger cornerbacks to play matchups will be in the market for his services.
And I think the physicality stuff, the penalty stuff we talk about Gardner is coachable.
Yeah.
And I think I saw Matt Rule yesterday talking about J.C. Horn saying he's too grabby, he's too physical, he's got to calm down. Like that, like you need to address it. Like you can go into the NFL and be grabby and be physical. As long as someone's coaching you up to get better there, like you can be put in a better position. And Horn obviously has the athleticism and the tools to, like, once he is less grabby, to stick with guys. I think Gardner obviously needs a big combine to show that he can do that as well. All right, last 6 here in the group of 5, and then we'll jump to the interviews at the back end of the show here. Remember, interviews with Kansas State head coach Chris Klieman. We talk a little Deuce Vaughn, Skylar Thompson. We got Troy linebacker Carlton Martial, guy going after the Nagurski Award this year. And then TCU cornerback Noah Daniels talking through his injury history and what he's got planned for 2021. He also, Quentin Johnson, this TCU wide receiver. He's like, oh, buddy, you're not ready for this kid. He's a big breakout candidate, according to Anthony Trash. I think he's going to be a true sophomore. Maybe. I think. But, yeah. Oh, man, he's going to be sick. Last 6 here. Isaiah Likely, tight end at Coastal Carolina. Alami Fehoko, defensive end, San Jose State. Back into San Jose State. Remember Boogie? Boogie from San Jose State? We had a high praise. Boogie Roberts, defensive tackle. You liked Boogie. You're telling me you didn't like Boogie Roberts? You don't remember San Jose State, Boogie Roberts?
Who's Boogie Roberts?
Never mind. All right. Dylan Parham, offensive tackle, Memphis. Running back, Tyler Algier, BYU. And then Jalen Tolbert, wide receiver, South Alabama. Probably not Tolbert. But start with Isaiah Likely. I like this guy.
I know. I do too. I just want to know how much he weighs. Like he's out there for Coastal Carolina on the tight end, running routes like a wide receiver. And yeah, he's obviously bigger than their wide receivers, but you wouldn't pick him out right away and be like, okay, yeah, that's a tight end. You might just think, I mean, he doesn't look that much bigger than, say, a Treylon Burks, the Arkansas wide receiver who we just talked about, who's 6'3", 230. 6'3", 230, that's not going to fly at tight end. Now he's listed at 6'4", 240, but we've been fooled before by, college, whatever, ADs pumping up their dudes. So I think that's the biggest thing with him, is just to keep getting stronger, because right now he's tight end in name only. You'd get laughed at if he lined up in line in the NFL right now. But the receiving ability is there. The after the catch ability is there. Reminds me a lot of a Hunter Bryant coming out of Washington, where it's just, can he continue to get bigger and still be athletic? Hunter Bryant could not. Likely could.
Likely. We'll see. That's going to be an overplayed thing there. The other guy I like from this list is Algier. I know running backs don't matter, but he's a fun player. He runs like, he reminds me a little bit of Jamal Williams from BYU. He just runs like a monster. I think he runs like a freaking bowling ball. And I think that, obviously, I'm not predicting Algier as like a top 50, top 75 player, but still, you chase these running backs that just run hard, run tough. I think he's going to be #fun to watch for BYU this year.
Oh shit! What was my comp for him in the draft guide? I wish I could remember, because I feel like I have the
draft guide pulled up. I always do. It's always
get the comp that I had for him in the draft guide pulled up, because I feel like I liked it, because he's like 230.
Jordan Howard,
enormous dude. Yes, okay. And just one cut and gets upfield, and he's not going to
thumping.
He's not going to ever try to make you miss. He is not going to ever try to like give
you a shake,
spin and shake, whatever. He is going to just know that at full speed, you're going to either have to hit him dead square up, or you're going to bounce off him, because that's how just loaded his legs are. So yeah, Jordan Howard comp, I think is apt. The one last guy I want to touch on, Viliami Fehoko, defensive end, San Jose State. Get to know the name. 87.0 overall grade last season. One of the most physical defensive ends in college football. That was as I believe, a redshirt sophomore last year. So he's going to be a redshirt junior. There are plays of him on tape where he is just throwing guys around. And I think he has the traits too to like sneak into the early round conversation. He's not just a high effort guy, but the effort and the sort of way he plays the game is off the charts. So big fan of his. Remember the name, Viliami Fehoko out of San Jose State.
Hell yeah. All right, that's going to do it. We went through some names, man. That's fun. Should be get you prepped for college football season when you're turning on the games, man. I'm excited. Now let's jump to interviews with Kansas State head coach Chris Klieman, Troy linebacker Carlton Martial, and TCU corner Noah Daniels. Support for PFF is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming champions of the world. I've been using it for a while now, Mike, and honestly, I don't think I've had a better life since getting Manscaped. The shave down low.
Did you say you don't think you've had a better life? Oh, okay.
I don't think I have. I think this is a new I'm a new person. I'm a new human being. I shower differently. I sleep differently. I party differently because of Manscaped.
I will say, if you're an adult male in the summertime and you haven't at least trimmed your pubes, you're disgusting. That's
and what like better tool
smell,
to trim?
The sweat, you're a psychopath.
And what better tool? Not the Lawnmower 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Just launched their 4th generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer to you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code PFF at manscaped.com. Manscaped engineered the ultimate groin and body trimmer by focusing on intelligent functionality and an incredibly comfortable grooming experience. Their 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. I now feel confident shaving my boys. Did I mention wireless charging? Did I? New wireless charging system uses electromagnetic induction, which can help battery length last longer. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code PFF at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code PFF. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for your family jewels with Manscaped.
Now joining the 2-for-1 Drafts podcast is current Kansas State head coach Chris Klieman. Chris, great to have you on the show.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me today.
Where I'd really like to start is honestly the quarterback position. We at PFF this past year graded Skylar Thompson really well on a limited snap count, of course, but he has improved from a PFF grading perspective every year of his career there at Kansas State. Graded super well in PFF system, top 15 figures in clean pocket passing grade, also accuracy on downfield throws. But what I'm interested to hear from you is, what do you feel is this kind of next step for Skylar Thompson? How does he take his game forward in 2021?
Well, he's healthy for starters, and we lost him early in the season last year in Game 3, and playing at a high level. Did some really good things against OU and was having a good game against Texas Tech when he got hurt. But I think that year off and having him still be a part of the game plans, having him help Coach Messingham and Coach Klein with some passing game stuff, and having him still be in the meeting rooms and having a full year where he wasn't going to play but was still able to process everything. And where he's improved so much is identification of things on defense, whether it's coverages, whether it's disguises, pressures, whatever it may be. We feel like we're going to even be able to add more to his plate this year as far as making adjustments and changes at the line of scrimmage. But we're excited about Tim. He's a grown man playing quarterback in the Big 12 for us. We're excited about having him back.
That's awesome. I've talked to a lot of coaches this preseason. Something I like to bring up is, what do you feel is the most important trait or attribute for the quarterback position? And you talk to some of these coaches, they mention, fourth quarter mentality, things in the clutch. A lot of coaches mention accuracy and being consistent and timing. What immediately comes to mind when you think about those necessary traits or attributes for a standout quarterback at the collegiate level?
Well, I think the number one attribute is leadership and making everybody around you better, and that's something that Skylar does, and that's just not on the offense but on the defense and team collectively. He's the pulse of our football team. He's the guy that everybody goes to when we have to make a decision on some stuff, and he does. He makes the receivers better. He makes the O-line better, makes the tight ends and running backs better, and his leadership is off the charts, and he's been here a while. He knows us as coaches really well. And so I think he feels comfortable in that role as well.
Another player I'm really excited about offensively is Deuce Vaughn, another guy that's graded really well according to PFF. 5'5", 168 pounds. Not sure if he's added any weight this offseason, but he's a nightmare for opposing defenses in the open field. Do you expect Deuce to kind of continue to have a prominent role in the offense, both as a pass catcher and a runner? I know at Media Day you spoke to, there's people, their teams double teaming him at this point, trying to stop him. And what are you doing different this year to kind of find more unique ways to get him the football?
Without a doubt, he's special, and he's special with the ball in his hands. He's special off the field as well. He's one of our best leaders, another one of our kids that guys look up to, but we're going to find different ways to get him the football. And what I mainly said at Media Day was the fact that he's so dynamic out of the backfield. And yeah, whether we move him around, motion him out, or just run routes out of the backfield, he's really special there. But where he's underrated is as a pure running back. And I see it in practice every day, and we saw glimpses of it last year as well. With us having the ability to open things up and throw the football much better this year, it's going to open more things up for him in the run game, and he's going to have to be a guy that's going to have, we hope, 15 to 25 touches minimum per game, and there's going to be games where he could have more.
Talk to me more about him off the field, because I'm fascinated by him as a player. Obviously, being a smaller back, sometimes difficult to make a big name for yourself in college football, but he's done that and then some. What's he like in the weight room, the film room? And I know he has a really good relationship with Skylar Thompson as well.
Yeah. He's put on some weight. He's in that mid-70s now, and very strong, great vision, great lower body. But guys just gravitate to him. If he's in the locker room, he's holding court and people are coming over. It doesn't matter if you're a freshman or if you're a senior. He's got the ultimate respect of our fourth and fifth year senior guys. And this is a kid that's a true sophomore that has that ultimate respect. And it's how he conducts himself off the field. He's a great student. He's very active in our community. If there's something we're doing in our community, he's the first guy to volunteer. He's around the offices. He comes in and visits with coaches and stuff. And he's just always has a smile on his face, and he's got great energy.
Man, that's fantastic. Receiving core, Malik Knowles, Phillip Brooks, I know you're expecting big things from them this upcoming year. Brooks already a fantastic returner for Kansas State. Where specifically does their game have to improve, to help Thompson and also help, take some pressure or attention away from Deuce?
Well, Malik's got to be healthy for us. He wasn't healthy for a good chunk of last year, and he finally got healthy the last few weeks of the season and had a couple of really big games against Baylor and Texas. And we need to make sure he stays healthy. He's put some weight on. He's put some strength on. His durability is going to be key for us. Phillip, we have to find more ways to get the ball to in the pass game. He's an exceptional returner, but he's getting so much better as a route runner and understanding concepts. But we have to find ways to take pressure off of those guys too, whether it's Sebastian Taylor, whether it's Cade Warner, different kids that have a role that we think can really be expanded this year so that we can spread the ball around.
We talk so much on offense, but I know you're a former defensive backs coach. I would love to hear, you must be thrilled to have Iko Boyado returning after what was honestly a breakout campaign for him. You also have some other standouts on this team in the defensive backfield, Julius Brents, Justin Gardner. What are your expectations for this group in 2021?
Well, we have to be much better than we were in 2020. That was an area that we struggled in the secondary, and part of it was a revolving door. We had kids in and out of the lineup the entire season and didn't practice, and that is what it is. But we've got to be better back there. We've added some transfers. You mentioned Julius Brents, who is a 6'3", 205-pound corner, which you need to have in this league. Rush East, who started, I think, 33 games at Louisville, will give us some great depth there as well. Echoes really came into his own last season. Justin Gardner did. We have a kid back that played a couple games that we thought really highly of in TJ Smith that was lost for the year from an ACL early in the season. He's back. So we have more depth back there in the secondary. But bottom line, we have to tackle better and we have to eliminate explosive plays.
I'm going to kind of hit on the same question I asked with quarterbacks, especially because you have so much experience. You are a former defensive back and have coached defensive backs for a long time. What do you feel are kind of these uncoachable necessities for top flight corners, whether that's athleticism, size, and those things? And then where do you think every single cornerback can improve or develop the most with the right system or with the right coaching?
Well, confidence is the one thing that they have to have, because it's not going to be a great play every play for those guys, and they've got to be able to have a short-term memory. But they have to be very physical. They have to be extremely good tacklers, and the ball is going to go up in the air. And so you have to be able to make plays on what everybody calls those 50-50 balls. And for us in the secondary, they need to be 80-20 balls. They need to be us for 80 of it, and a kid may make a great play on you, but we've got to win those battles. And that's something that we've increased the competition with recruiting, but we've also increased the competition at practice, doing some of those deep ball or even intermediate passes where it's mano a mano, and you've got to be able to make plays.
Absolutely. I want to get a little bit more high level with some of these questions here. Obviously, vaccination is something that's being talked about a ton, both at the collegiate level and the NFL level. How are you approaching that as a whole, vaccination rates and those things with your team? And can you speak to just the success you've had and the communication that you've had so far?
Yeah, we made a big push once we got to about April. Most of us as coaches were able to get the vaccine in either late March or early April. And then once spring ball ended, we started really pushing our players to it. They were able to get it at that time. I think we're at about 80% right now, so we're in a good position. But we also know that there's 20% of our guys that haven't had it, and we can't mandate. We're not going to mandate it, but we still need to make sure that we're well aware that, we're a positive test away from having a little bit of an outbreak, and we have to still educate our guys. There's going to be some times, who knows, are they going to put masks back indoors for meetings and stuff? I'm not sure what will happen, but our doctors, our medical staff here has done a phenomenal job of educating the guys. And each week we seem to trickle a few more guys in that do get vaccinated, but we sit in a good place, but I know we can always be better.
Gotcha. And last one for you, Coach. Obviously, the new NIL rules in college football are changing nearly everything about the game. You see, that number one quarterback prospect could potentially, leaving high school early to join Ohio State with the NIL rules in place. What has been your, biggest reaction at Kansas State to that implementation? How do you feel this is really going to impact college football over the next 2, 3, 4 years?
Well, it's going to have a huge impact without a doubt, and we're doing well at Kansas State. I'm excited that they were able to put NIL in there for the guys and gals, because they deserve the opportunity to make some money. And a city like Manhattan's a great example, because you live in Manhattan, you're a K-State athlete, man. You've got a lot of things. You're pretty much royalty around here, and so you've got opportunities. And I've seen it with our own guys. We've had a few guys that have had some opportunities to make some money, and then they take some of their buddies out to eat or something. So I think it's got to be a shared situation. I'll be interested to see over the next year how it does transform. Can we avoid missing meeting times and practices because of things going on? Can we avoid, I don't agree on the guys that are making 7 figures on it. I don't think that was the intended purpose for this. It would help facilitate, get some money for guys, and maybe there are some deals that can be pretty lucrative for kids, but it's a lot to manage for an 18 to 22 or 23-year-old, and so I'm all for it. I think they deserve the opportunity to get some money, and let's see how this year plays out.
100%. Couldn't agree with you more, Coach. Really appreciate the time, and I wish you the best of luck this season.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Now joining the 2-4 Drafts podcast is current Troy linebacker Carlton Martial, a no-star recruit in 2017. Goes to, walks on at Troy, was obviously had an uber successful season with Troy early in your career there. I think you were named, true freshman, Sunbelt Player of the Year. Now entering this upcoming season, you recently graduated. Congratulations on graduating, and also the Sunbelt preseason Defensive Player of the Year. Carlton, great to have you on the show.
Yes, sir. It was wonderful having me. Thank you.
Where I'd like to start, man, is honestly let's turn back the clocks a little bit and think about or talk about what positions you played in high school. I know you played in the high school in Alabama. I think it was McGill-Tulane High School. What positions did you play? And then what all kind of led to you walking on at Troy, why you made that decision? I think that high school is roughly a 3-hour drive away from where you're from. I'm interested to hear kind of what positions and what you did in high school, and then what all led to you walking on at Troy.
Freshman year, I came in as a running back. But when the game got kind of close, they would let me switch sides, play both sides, play linebacker, get a little taste of that. But yeah, sophomore year, my coaches gave me a decision. You have to choose one side of the ball, offense or defense. And it took me a few days, but I told Coach, hey, defense it is for me. So how that came about, after my high school career, I looked at it as, I had offers such as North Alabama, Valdosta State, West Florida, the smaller D2 schools. And I just felt that, me personally, after my high school career, I deserved a bigger shot. So with a long talk with my parents right the night before signing day, they said, we'll back you anything. We'll back you with anything you do. So I walked on to Troy, and it's been history since then.
Yeah. I mean, you earned your scholarship at Troy in August 2018. Talk me through that experience before, obviously walking on at Troy and all that had to go through there. I know you obviously had to work your ass off to get to the point you were. And then I know there's a video of it on YouTube somewhere, but that moment when you were finally offered the scholarship at Troy, walk me through that process and obviously that final moment there.
When I first got there, of course, it's going to be hard for a walk-on. You got to go through every little detail. You got to make sure everything is on point, because you're a walk-on and that many more eyes are on you, just waiting for you to, mess up or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So going into that year, I looked at it as, okay, I have to do some self-reflecting, because I'm coming from McGill, my high school career, being the top dog in my school, to being the bottom of the totem pole. So, working, I really had to do that just day in and day out. Everything was stressful. I even contemplated on deciding if I should still play football or not. So having that discussion with my parents, they gave me the best advice anyone's ever gave me when it comes to this sport, why did you start the sport? That's what they asked me. Why did you start the sport? What made you love football? And after I got that question out of the way, I knew, this was for me. So, yeah, it was just a hard road, but, getting that scholarship, that moment, it was just big. I felt like all my hard work is paid off, but I knew it wasn't over from there. I still have to, prove myself to the team as well as my coaches.
Yeah, I think in addition to obviously, the walk-on hurdle that presents itself, I'd be interested to hear more about how you specifically, overcome what is a size disadvantage. What 5'10", 210. There are a lot of people, I'm sure, and you're even before you walked on at Troy, has mentioned things like too small, not big enough. And I'm interested to know how you've overcome that size disadvantage. I guess what other things do you address or attack to kind of make up for it? Is it film study? Is it weight room? Is it these different things? I'm interested to know kind of how you attack that or prioritize kind of overcoming that size disparity.
Everyone, like you said, everyone talks about my size. Oh no, he's too small. But what I lack in height and weight, I make up with speed, quickness, and twitch, as well as aggressiveness. Film study helps me a lot, helps me to recognize plays earlier. And reading my keys, that's really the big part of it. But really just the quick twitch, the aggressiveness at the point of attack, I feel like that's really what helps me out.
Yeah, speed, quick twitch, that all shows up on tape. But I'm sure, sometimes maybe it doesn't show up on tape, but I'm sure as a part of your process is a very deep, rich preparation schedule. Walk me through, how much film you're watching and what specifically you're looking for when you're watching an opponent, or even, turning back the film on yourself in a given game week. What specifically do you look for? And I guess how much do you prioritize, the film room?
The film room's the first priority. The first thing I watch is the O-line. I figure out who's their best O-lineman, their favorite pass set tackles, as well as, play recognition, the guards, how far are they back, like what foot is up, like just little stuff like that, Those things can really help you out on the field. I have one specific time that pops in my head. It was Arkansas State, I believe 2 years ago. Every time they motioned a player to the boundary, they would always throw a quick slant, and it was 3rd and 5. So I kind of read that and intercepted the ball. So yeah, that film study, plays a huge part and a huge role in what I do out there on the field.
Gotcha. I had to imagine that. I'd be interested to hear too, kind of what your goals are for this season. I know you mentioned at Media Day that you want to be more of a vocal leader. How has that gone for you so far this offseason? And I guess why do you feel it's so important that you do step up in that regard and be that vocal leader for the defense there at Troy?
These past years, we were wondering what was the big problem. Why are we have the talent, we have everything is together. It was just that one factor, that one leader that this team needed, that one guy that's not afraid to, rub some people the wrong way, go out there and just jump on somebody and, get everybody going. That's really what this team needed. And I felt like that's what I had to be for this team to be successful. And my coaches say they see me getting better and progressing as the summer has ended. Now it's about to go into fall camp. So they said they're really proud of me, and they're I'm sorry.
All good.
Yeah, they're really proud of me, and they see me growing, but it doesn't stop here.
Last thing for you, I really appreciate the time, Carlton. Obviously, winning the Sun Belt is high on your list, but do you have any other specific goals for yourself this season, specific stats, specific accolades, awards? Is there something that at the end of this year you want to have specifically for you?
Specifically for me, just to lead the nation in tackles once again. The Burlsworth Trophy, that's high on my list because knowing that I became a walk-on, that's just I want to say a special fraternity that, walk-ons, that special place in my heart. Mm-hmm. The Bendicart, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Risky, all of that. Yes, sir. I would love to have those. But like you said, definitely winning the Sun Belt Championship is first on my priority list.
This has been fantastic, Carlton. I really appreciate the time, and I wish you the best of luck moving forward.
Oh, thank you. No problem.
Now joining the 2-for-1 Drafts podcast is current TCU defensive back Noah Daniels. I should say cornerback, one of the top cornerbacks expected to enter the 2022 NFL Draft. It's great to have you on the show, man.
Yeah, thank you, and it's an honor to be here.
We're going to turn back the clock a little bit. Former 3-star recruit, number 10 corner coming out of Texas. I think you originally committed to Baylor, then flipped your commitment to TCU. Talk to me about that decision. Why'd you originally commit to Baylor, and then why'd you ultimately end up, playing for the Horned Frogs?
Really throughout the whole process, my whole mind frame was kind of in that 3 to 5 hour range, anyways, from home. And Baylor offered me first at the time, so I committed to Baylor. But then I went to TCU camp, but TCU stayed in contact with me before I even committed to Baylor. So it's not like, they just came out of nowhere. They've been interested in me. I just never got offered till later. But when they did offer me, I flipped instantly. So I knew that's really where I wanted to go truly. And I like the proximity from home, really. I like the fact that Coach Patterson does what he does and is able to produce and develop how he does. So I just thought it was the best fit for me, honestly.
Yeah, Patterson is a guy that, we at PFF are also really high on. Yeah, 3-star recruit. Still had a lot of offers from blue blood programs, Missouri, Notre Dame, Oklahoma. And then in your time here at TCU, you've only, looking at, what you've played, 353 defensive snaps played in your collegiate career, obviously missed 2019 due to injury. And then the COVID abbreviated season. You also had another injury in 2020. I think everyone's asking, this kid, when healthy, is a freaking monster. But how healthy are you right now? And how are you kind of shifting your mindset or shifting your practice schedule, shifting how you're approaching the weight room to stay healthy entering 2021?
Right now, I just actually went to the doctor. They sent me over to the doctor two days ago, I want to say. And based on his evaluation, he predicts in 4 weeks, my right knee, was my surgery knee, would be just like the left one. So basically 100%. No, he said in 4 weeks, it'll be 98%.
Gotcha.
And he said in about 4 weeks from then, I should be 100% healed. But as far as like competition wise, they've been holding me out of some stuff, but I've been going against live reps. I don't really do anything different than the other team with running, lifting, anything else.
Gotcha. And so for that right knee, what was that injury specifically?
It was ACL specifically. It was isolated ACL.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, that's good that you're going to be 98% healthy in 4 weeks, and then obviously 4 weeks from that, 100% healthy. Do you expect to then start the season out of the gate, week 1, ready to rock and roll?
Yeah, he told me. I asked him that question. I said, "Do you think I'll be ready for game 1?" He said, "Most definitely for game 1."
Like, oh hell yeah, dude! Doctors got our backs here. Noah Daniel's playing week 1 for TCU, man. That's awesome to hear.
Yeah, so, I'm lucky. I'm lucky being up here in Fort Worth with Dr. Singleton. I having one of the best doctors in the area. It helps in being in the Metroplex. But
yeah, that's awesome to hear, man. And so I know you added a nutritionist recently, helping you put on weight, and also another way you're prioritizing trying to stay healthy. How has that process been? What foods have you had to cut out, and so forth?
It's really more so I cut out junk food, but it wasn't really more so I wasn't really eating enough of the right stuff, I guess. And it was just like I couldn't maintain the constant weight. So my nutritionist, I got with a nutritionist, got the high calorie shakes, I drink after workouts, and I told her like sometimes I can't eat in the mornings, so like sometimes I don't eat breakfast. We got the shakes, so now I drink the shakes in the morning, which is like replace the calories. It's like we could like she shoots up to like 1,000 calories she needs to, but like
oh wow,
yeah, like she like it's however many whatever weight I'm trying to stay at, and right now it's about 193, 194, and right now I'm about 191.5, 192-ish.
Oh, okay.
But so it's been working, but it really started when I had dropped to 188, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not 180. So right when that happened, they got me the nutritionist, and then ever since then, I've been able to maintain and keep that weight.
That's awesome. And so you plan to play this season at what, 193, 194?
Yeah.
Gotcha. And are you approaching the weight room differently? Or are you doing anything different in the weight room or in the rehabilitation process to try and keep things going?
I do everything they do. And then in between sets, like, because we work out in sets of 3, but my workout group has 2. So we'll go 1 set, 2 set. I have a whole free set to do nothing. So I use that set to do a lot of single leg, quad stuff, a lot of things that you need for ACL. I do a lot of hamstring stuff, stuff to help with the breaking, which because with the ACL it's to repair with your patella tendon. So I do a lot of single leg stuff, breaking stuff. I do a lot of rehab stuff after I just went to rehab. I do a lot of rehab stuff and workouts. So I try my best to make sure it's gonna be ready.
Makes a ton of sense, man, because honestly, you answer that, you stay healthy for a full season. I think a lot more people than just PFF are going to be all over you, my friend, heading into the draft. I think now I want to focus a little bit on TCU. I think TCU over the past few years has been super underrated in terms of the type of talent they've been able to push in the secondary. Gladney, Merrick, Darius Washington, so much talent coming out of TCU recently. How has that experience been, working with those guys, specifically Merrick and Darius Washington this past year? And how much have you learned from playing under those underclassmen?
I mean, it was cool because I got to watch them grow. Like, I watched them from when they first came in and didn't know nothing, didn't know a thing, to what they are now. Some of the best safeties that was in the previous draft class. So it was honestly cool. Like, I've been here I'm a senior, so it's cool watching young guys, especially when they get an opportunity at the next level. Especially when they're in the secondary with me and I've played and communicated with them, and Trey and Ardea are actually close friends of mine, so that makes it even more better. So it was great seeing them get picked up, but on the field it was a lot easier too, because I play the boundary a lot due to my physical, I'm more about corner. So and AD played weak safety, so we communicated a lot. So and we had great communication. So it helped.
And that cornerback room is loaded this year. You got the transfer from Memphis, TJ Carter, obviously Hodges Tomlinson. Talk to me about your relationship with those guys and how that's been obviously working with them this offseason.
TJ's been working more with the safeties, but as far as the other ones, we've been working.
Gotcha. Been working. That's good, man. That's great. I know another guy, Quentin Johnson, 2024 star recruit on the receiver side. Breakout candidate? How does he look?
I don't want to sound biased, so I'm gonna say in 2 years, but I think next year he's gonna be the best receiver in the Big 12.
Oh, wow, man. That is high praise. That's sweet. I know a lot of people are high on him, too, PFF included.
Yeah. Honestly, I've guarded him. I could truly say, I'll see him in praise every day. I could truly say, he's one of the best up-and-coming receivers.
Dude, that's sweet. High praise.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And me and Quentin are friends, but we're not just close friends. Like, we haven't got a chance to develop that relationship yet. He's young, but I'm sure we will. So, but I'm not being biased. I'm being honest. That dude's nice, man.
That's awesome, man. Last question for you, and I really appreciate the time. That's great to hear on Quentin Johnson, too. I guess set expectations for yourself for this upcoming year. Obviously, you want to be healthy. Obviously, you want to be one of the best defensive backs in the Big 12. But given, barring that you do have a healthy season, what does an ideal season or your highest expectations look like for Noah Daniels in 2021?
Individually or?
Yeah, individually.
I mean, I don't really like to get an individual, but I feel like my expectation is really to dominate every snap. Like, I want to go every game walking off the field knowing I didn't let up anything. Like, and that's because I know I want to do my 111 basically, like my job on the defense. Like, I don't want the reason we lose to be because of me. I don't want the reason my teammates are down and lost because of me. I want to be able to step on the field and put my best foot forward every play, because as I learned from these injuries, it can end any play. So that's my goal. My goal is to just attack every single rep like it's just my last. And just to dominate.
That's fantastic, man.
Don't back down to anyone. And just maintain that confidence that I know I have the ability to. That I just, unfortunately, with the injuries, haven't had a chance to show the world.
Well, I'm really excited to see it, man. I think healthy Noah Daniels, everyone in college football should want to see that. This has been fantastic, and I wish you the best of luck this year.
Thank you.